बोले श्री उमापति महादेव की जय. We join in opening prayer. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Bhagavan He Ram, He Ram, He Ram, He Ram. हमें दया करो. गुरुर ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर. गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म. तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. ओम सिद्धि बुद्धि प्रदे देवी भुक्ति मुक्ति प्रदायिनी मंत्र मूर्ते सदा देवी महालक्ष्मी नमोस्तुते. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधा. वरनो रघुबर विमल यश जोदायक फल चार. बोधहीन तनु जानिके सुमीरो पवन कुमार. बल बुद्धि वेद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार. सियापति रामचंद्र जी की जय. शरणम ये नाथ मम संकट हरो हरि. Please take your seats. Ramayan Chaupais.
प्रवेश नगर कीजे सब आजा. हृदय राखी कौशलपुर राजा. रथ चढ़ी सिया सहित दो भाई. जाके सुमिरन तेरी तो नाशा. नाम शत्रुघ्न वेद प्रकाशा. विश्वभरण पोषण कर जो ताकर नाम भरत हस होई. वह शोभा जो समाज सुखा कहत न बने देश वर्ण शारद शेष श्रुति सोरस जान महेश सिया पति रामचंद्र की जय शरण बंदो पवन कुमार कलवन पावक ज्ञान घन जासु हृदय आकार बस ही राम शर चाप धर।
बोल श्री राजा रामचंद्र की जय। We concentrate on Gajanan Swami. जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश जननी गिरिजा जनक महेश जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश जय जय मंगल
मूर्ति गणेश
जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश
जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश
जननी गिरिजा जनक महेश जननी गिरिजा जनक महेश जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश
जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश
पूजा होती प्रथम तुम्हारी दोष पाप और संकट हारी पूजा होती प्रथम तुम्हारी दोष पाप और संकट हारी जयति गजानन जय सर्वेश जयति गजानन जय सर्वेश जय जय मंगल
मूर्ति गणेश जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश
लाभ और शुभ के तुम दाता तुम हो विद्या बुद्धि विधाता लाभ और शुभ के तुम दाता तुम हो विद्या बुद्धि विधाता निर्मल बुद्धि करो अखिलेश निर्मल बुद्धि करो अखिलेश जय जय मंगल
मूर्ति गणेश जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश
रिधि सेधि तुम हो स्वामी देव नमामि 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 रिद्धि सिद्धि तुम हो स्वामी। देव नमामि नमामि नमामि, सबके विघ्न हरो विघ्नेश। सबके विघ्न हरो विघ्नेश। जय जय मंगल
मूर्ति गणेश, जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश।
जननी गिरिजा जनक महेश, जननी गिरिजा जनक महेश। जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश,
जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश।
जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश।
जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश।
जय जय गणपति जय जय 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 गणेश।
सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे,
सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे।
सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे।
सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे।
जय जय गणपति जय जय गणेश। 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 सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे, सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे। सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे, सिद्धि विनायक जय करुणे। जय जय गणपति जय जय गणेश। 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 जय जय मंगल मूर्ति गणेश। बोले श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। We concentrate on daily vow. आरती की जय शैल सुता की, जगदम्बा की आरती की जय। आरती की जय शैल सुता की, आरती की जय शैल सुता की, जगदम्बा की आरती की जय। जगदम्बा की आरती की जय। आरती की जय शैल सुता की। जगदम्बा की आरती की जय। स्नेह सुधा सुख सुंदर दीजे, जिनके नाम लेत ध्रुव भीजे। जिनके नाम लेत ध्रुव भीजे, ऐसी हो माता वसुधा की। जगदम्बा की आरती की जय। जगदम्बा की आरती की जय। आरती की जय शैल सुता की। पाप विनाशिनी कलिमलहारिणी दयामयी भव सागर तारिणी शस्त्रधारिणी शैलविहारिणी शस्त्रधारिणी शैलविहारिणी बुद्धिराशि गणपति माता की जगदम्बा की आरती कीजिए जगदम्बा की आरती कीजिए आरती कीजिए शैलसुता की सिंहवाहिनी मातु भवानी सिंहवाहिनी मातु भवानी गौरव गान करे जग प्राणी गौरव गान करे जग प्राणी शिव के हृदयासन की रानी शिव के हृदयासन की रानी करे आरती मिलजुल धाकी जगदम्बा की आरती कीजिए जगदम्बा की आरती कीजिए आरती कीजिए आरती कीजिए आरती कीजिए शैलसुता की जगदम्बा की आरती कीजिए जगदम्बा की आरती कीजिए आरती कीजिए शैलसुता की आरती कीजिए शैलसुता की आरती कीजिए शैलसुता की बोल श्री आदिशक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय। We concentrate on Bholenath. दिमिक 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 दमरू कर बाजे दिमिक दिमिक दमरू कर बाजे प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला भोला दिमिक दिमिक दमरू कर बाजे प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला भोला दिमिक दिमिक श्रृंगीनाद बजावत गावत श्रृंगीनाद बजावत गावत श्रृंगीनाद श्रृंगीनाद बजावत गावत लत करही बदली झोला भोला दिमिक दिमिक डमरू कर बाजे, प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला भोला दिमिक दिमिक। नाग फनन सो करत आरती, नाग फनन सो करत आरती, नाग फनन सो करत आरती। देव देव गति अनमोला भोला दिमिक दिमिक। डमरू कर बाजे, प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला भोला दिमिक दिमिक। भालचंद्र सिर गंगा लहरे, भालचंद्र भालचंद्र सिर गंगा लहरे, भालचंद्र सिर गंगा लहरे। हाथ लिए भांग की गोला भोला दिमिक 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 दिमिक। डमरू कर बाजे, प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला भोला दिमिक दिमिक। डमरू कर बाजे, प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला, प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला, प्रेम मगन नाचे भोला भोला। बोले श्री उमापति महादेव की। And devotees, let us now concentrate on Prabhu Sri Ram before going on to this morning's message. जानकी नाथ सहाय करे जब, जानकी नाथ सहाय करे जब, कौन बिगाड़ करे नर तेरो। जानकी नाथ सहाय, जानकी नाथ सहाय करे जब, जानकी नाथ सहाय करे जब, कौन बिगाड़ करे नर तेरो जानकी नाथ सहाय। सूरज मंगल सोम भृगु सुत, सूरज मंगल सोम भृगु सुत, बुध अरु गुरुवार दायक तेरो, बुध अरु गुरुवार दायक तेरो, राहु केतु की नाही गम्यता, संग शनिश्चर होत उचेरो, जानकी नाथ सहाय। दुष्ट दुशासन, दुष्ट दुशासन विमल द्रौपदी, दुष्ट दुशासन विमल द्रौपदी, क्षीर उतार कुमंतर प्रेरो, क्षीर उतार कुमंतर प्रेरो, जाकी सहाय करे करुणा निधि, जाकी सहाय करे करुणा निधि, बध गए क्षीर के मार घनेरो, बध गए क्षीर की मार घनेरो, जानकी नाथ सहाय। गर्भ में राख्यो, गर्भ में राख्यो परीक्षित राजा, गर्भ में राख्यो परीक्षित राजा, अश्वत्थामा जब अस्त्र पेरो, अश्वत्थामा जब अस्त्र प्रेरो, भारत में मारुहि के अंडा, तापर गज का घंटा घेरो, तापर गज का घंटा घेरो, जानकी नाथ सहाय। जाकी सहाय करे करुणा निधि, जाकी सहाय करे करुणा निधि, ताकि जगत में भाग बधेरो, ताकि जगत में भाग बधेरो, रघुवंश संतन सुखदाई, रघुवंश संतन सुखदाई, तुलसीदास चरणन की छेरो तुलसीदास चरणन की छेरो जानकी नाथ सहाय करे जब कौन बिगाड़ करे नर तेरो जानकी नाथ सहाय करे जब कौन बिगाड़ करे नर तेरो जानकी नाथ सहाय। हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे हरे राम भज मन निश दिन प्यारे भज मन निश दिन प्यारे हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे भज मन निश दिन प्यारे 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 भज मन निश दिन हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे 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 भज मन निश दिन प्यारे भज मन निश दिन प्यारे भज मन निश दिन प्यारे भज मन निश दिन प्यारे। बोल श्री राजा रामचंद्र की। We continue our study of Sri Ramcharitamanas. As I mentioned before, we'll be looking at various chaupais and dohas from Bal Kand. Today we are on page 5. For those of you who have the version of the Ramayan that we are using, those of you looking on IETV, on Facebook, on YouTube, Pandit Adesh has arranged for our dohas or chaupais to be put up so you can follow along directly on your screen. So we are on page 5. The last time we studied the principle of Vivek, which in simple language means right vision. We're moving along a little further now, and we are going to look at the doha, two dohas really put together, that begins Bando Santa Samana Chitta. So this is on page 5, Bando Santa Samana Chitta. So first of all, we will sing together, then we will look at the translation, and then we try to extract some principles that are relevant, that important word, relevant to ourselves in this modern time. So let's begin. बंदो संत समान चित, बंदो संत समान चित, हित अनहित नहीं को, हित अनहित नहीं को, अंजलिगत शुभ सुमन जिमी, अंजलिगत शुभ सुमन जिमी, सम सुगंध कर दो, सम सुगंध कर दो. I reverence the saints who are even-minded towards all and have no friend or foe. Just as a gracious flower, clasped in both hands, sheds equal fragrance on the two, that hand which plucked it and the other that held and preserved it. We go on. संत सरल चित जगत हित, संत सरल चित जगत हित, जानी सुभाव सनेहु, जानी सुभाव सनेहु, बाल विनय सुनि करी कृपा, बाल विनय सुनि करी कृपा, राम चरण रति देहु, राम चरण रति देहु, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. Realizing thus the noble disposition and loving nature of the saints who are innocent at heart and desirous of the welfare of the world, I make this humble submission to them. Listening to my childlike prayer, O you saints, be gracious to me and inspire me with devotion towards the feet of Sri Ram. Bole Sri Raja Ramachandra ki. So devotees, the principle we are looking at today, we've heard of sages, and we are trying to understand what is the key quality that makes a saint. Now your concern here should be, what could make you saintly? Okay, this is not to analyze other people, it is to analyze yourself. So first of all, Bando Sant Samana Chita. So Tulsi Das here is writing, I bow to all of the saints. Good? Who are, so he is qualifying now, what is a saint? Even-minded towards all. So that's the first point and the important one. Even-minded. And we will look in a bit as to what even-minded means. What is even-minded? How should I be even-minded? He goes on, even-minded towards all and have no friend or foe. Meaning that a person who is saintly is not only even-minded, but he doesn't think of anybody as being, you are my friend, you are my enemy. You are my friend. There's none of that involved. And he uses, again, throughout Sri Ramcharitamanas, you would see there are analogies, similes, metaphors, to bring the example home. So he is saying, just as a flower clasped in both hands sheds equal fragrance on the two, the one which plucked it and the other that held and preserved it. So imagine you're a flower, one hand plucks you from your natural environment. In other words, it hurts you. The other hand is holding and preserving it. In other words, it's good to you, it's nice to you. But Tulsi is saying that this flower sheds equal fragrance on both. The one that has, caused it pain, also the one that is compassionate to it, is nice to it. And it sheds equal fragrance to both. Okay? So the example he's driving home is, of course, in this analogy, we are like the flower. Someone does something to hurt you, to cause you pain. You still do your part, remain even-minded, you give your fragrance, shower your love. And of course, if someone is nice to you, does nice things for you, fulfill their responsibility to you, same thing. Give your fragrance, your love and your compassion. So that's the first one. Secondly, he goes on to say, realizing this noble disposition, again he's referring to the evenness of mind, treating all alike with that love and consideration. Realizing the noble disposition and loving nature of saints who are innocent at heart and desirous not of things for themselves but for the welfare of others, the welfare of the world. Tulsi is saying, I bow to people like this. In other words, he's telling us, take example from people like this. Listening to my childlike prayer. And why childlike? Because children devotees are innocent in this way. You know, when children are small, they don't hold anything in their mind against anybody. But as they get older, then you start to pick up, you know, hate for this one, a liking for that one, etc. So Tulsi is saying, by his childlike prayer, he is alluding to, he is trying to be like this, or he is like this. So listening to my childlike prayer, O you saints, be gracious to me, and what? Inspire me with devotion towards the feet of Rama. And so here now we take away from this that being even-minded and treating everybody equally is the starting point to go towards the feet of Rama. And I interpret that to mean always with that knowing, that knowledge of your own true nature, as we say, being at the feet of Rama. Okay? So you take that how you want, but for me, this is what it means. So in a nice way here, Tulsi is talking about the principle of even-mindedness. We have other words that we use for this, such as equanimity. Again, I'm not fond of big words. Children can understand even-mindedness. It means your mind doesn't get perturbed when things happen, especially bad things. Okay? All right. So, let's unpack this a little bit now. The question is, we are told to practice even-mindedness. And my question to you is, how? How? You can't just tell somebody, be even-minded, and it happens. It is a quality that you have to develop. It is something you have to be aware of. And it is something you have to put into practice. Okay? So, first of all, I'll begin with this, short story that we all know. There are different versions of it, but this is it in essence. There was a sadhu. So we're talking about saints, sadhus, right? Sadhu means good, one with good qualities. There was a sadhu who went to the river to take a bath. And there in the water, he noticed there was a scorpion struggling about. So a scorpion wasn't meant for water, right? Scorpion needs to be on land. But this scorpion was in the water and struggling about. So since scorpions cannot swim, the sadhu thought, if I don't save the scorpion, it will drown. So he picked up the scorpion and tried to put it on the bank of the river. But of course, as scorpions do, what do scorpions do? Sting. Now you can't hold that against the scorpion. The scorpion's nature is to sting. What is the sadhu's nature? To help, to assist, and also to be even-minded, as we are talking about. So the sadhu said, it is my dharma to help others. So this scorpion in his hand stung him, and he dropped this scorpion instantly. Of course, the scorpion dropped right back down in the river there. So again he saw the scorpion struggling, and again this sadhu picked up the scorpion, and as scorpions do, you think the scorpion learned the lesson? Say, oh, the sadhu trying to help him, I wouldn't sting him. Did that happen? No. Scorpion stung him again. And so this drama went on. Sadhu dropped the scorpion. He picked up the scorpion, tried to move it again. Scorpion sting him, dropped the scorpion again. After a while, the sadhu said, you know what? It is my job to move the scorpion no matter what. Let him sting me how much he wants. But from my point of view,
I am doing my duty. I am showing compassion to this scorpion. The scorpion doesn't know any better. So I'm assuming the scorpion here isn't thinking thoughts, right? So the sadhu picked up the scorpion, and the scorpion stinging. The sadhu eventually put the scorpion down on the bank and dropped down there. He had some poison in him, but luckily he didn't die. Now a hunter was watching what the sadhu was doing. And this hunter found this very strange. What is this sadhu doing here? And the hunter said, "Oh sadhu, forgive me, but it is clear that this scorpion would continue stinging you. Why don't you just, give it up and let him drown?" And the sadhu replied, "My dear child, this scorpion is not stinging me out of any sort of malice or ill intent. It is the scorpion's way of protecting himself." So you see, what the sadhu is doing is trying to look at things from the perspective of the scorpion. And the scorpion doesn't realize I am trying to help him. He sees a threat and he's stinging me. So that is the limitation of the scorpion. But it is not my limitation. So just as the nature of the scorpion is to sting, so it is my nature to save, to help. And so just as the scorpion isn't leaving his nature, why should I leave my nature, what comes natural to me? My dharma is to help those in need, those in pain, and I will not let a small scorpion take this away from me. And so, devotees, we've heard this story before, but what do you internalize from it? What do you learn from it? And the question I have for you is, do you behave like a sadhu, or do you behave like a scorpion? That's the question. Only you could answer that. In other words, is it your natural response, your nature, to lash out, to sting at people, to get angry, to quarrel, to cause confusion? Or is it your nature, your natural response to help, to assist, to take care? There are two sides. And some of you may be thinking, oh, this is simple. This is like, we tell children this. The problem is not children, devotees. Sorry to say it, but the problem is you, me, adults. Okay, with these attitudes, we are not childlike at all. Childlike meaning, childlike in attitude, in the way that we treat people. Okay? So, this story of the sadhu and the scorpion, tells us that there are always going to be people in the world, lots of people in the world, who are going to do things to hurt us. In your job, people gunning for you. People saying all kind of thing about you. Right? But yet still you have to work with them, not so? You still have to deal with them. So, the choice we have, what is your choice? Either you get on like a scorpion, and so you have two scorpions fighting, or you behave like the sadhu. Like Michelle Obama said, when they go low, you go high. Okay? So, taking the high road, being the principled one, not getting angry and upset over the nature of these things. Okay. So now, let's look at strategies for how we can actually practice this in your day-to-day life. Okay? So I'm not telling you be even-minded and then you go home. We're going to look now at how you could practice even-mindedness on a day-to-day basis. What are the strategies? Now, before you could do that, you have to take a step back again, and we come back to your mind, your own internal working. So as I've said many times, mana eva manushyanam. Your mind is the cause of your behavior. Karanam bandha moksha yoho. It's the cause of bondage. It is also the cause of liberation. It all rests with you, your mind and what you think. Now, in terms of our psychology in Sanatan Dharma, how we work is that we all have desires on a daily basis, okay? The reason you get up and you move and you do anything is because you have some sort of desire. Meaning, you have to get something done. You want to do something. I have to eat. I have to go to work. I have to look at the children. I have to do my duty, etc., etc. So, desires are the base that we operate from. And as we've mentioned before, we have various emotions that we experience. Some of them we consider positive, some we consider negative. But in general, we have kama, which is desire, and that leads to krodha, anger, matsarya, jealousy, mudha, pride, moha, attachment, and lobha, greed. So we call these streams of emotion. Let me put it simply. So what happens is when we have a desire and it is fulfilled, we get what we want, then sometimes it could lead to pride, or it could lead to attachment. We want more of it, and then we get greedy. On the other hand, when we don't get what we want, you get angry. And not only that, but jealousy comes. If somebody else gets something that you want, you get jealous. Okay? So these streams of emotions are always there in us. And it has an evolutionary basis. So I don't think anybody is saying don't feel. The thing is, we have emotions, we feel, we get angry, we get upset, we get jealous, we get greedy. And these things are only natural. The problem arises when you let these emotions, remember emotion is something that causes motion. It causes you to act in a detrimental fashion. Okay? So these emotions now, we need to pay attention to them. Now, we have what's called mental winds that are caused by these emotions. So whether we get angry, jealous, proud, it leads to changes in the state of our mind. Okay? So I'm leading up to equanimity. I'm leading up to, control of mind, keeping your mind peaceful at all times, like the saint. But before doing that, we need to understand what causes our mind to go out of whack in the first place. Okay? So simply, there are 8 mental winds. Right? So I've put to you emotions. We have these 7 streams of emotion. And then we have 8 mental winds. So simply, these winds are gain and loss. When we get what we want, or we lose what we have, we don't get what we want. Honor and disgrace. Praise and blame, happiness and sadness, happiness and pain. So people always like when they gain something, when you get honor, when you are praised, when you are happy. And we are averse to loss, when we lose something, disgrace, blame, and pain. Now the idea is, what is being put forward here is that when we have these winds blowing about, say we have a hurricane come into Trinidad, what you do? What you do? Well, you have to get some wood, batten down the windows, close up, tighten, lock down, secure. So it's the same with your mind. You have winds blowing about, all these thoughts and emotions, but yet still, the house, that internal you that is there, the observer of all of this, needs to understand how not to be swayed by these things. Okay? Now, as I said, I am not saying you're trying to eliminate emotions. It doesn't happen. Okay? And even anger, it is said that you know the quality of a man by what gets him angry. So if a man gets angry because his wife didn't cook something he liked, he's at a very low level. If a man gets angry because people are not doing what he's supposed to do, not living according to principle, nothing selfish, that's a different kind of anger. So everything is relative, you see? But you can't stop it from happening. So the idea is, devotees, not to eliminate, you can't eliminate these things. Once you're a person, you're going to have it. The idea is to stop it from affecting you. Okay? Made that point clear. Now, practical strategies. Given this, how can we deal with these winds? Well, the idea now is to lock yourself down, don't let it blow you away. Like a roly-poly, knock you over, you come back up. It's going to knock you over, bring yourself back up. Don't let it knock you over and keep you down. Okay? All right. First point, first step. Let me put it like this. Step 1. To be even-minded, or to practice even-mindedness, the first step is you have to decide that you want to be even-minded. So if you don't care what I am saying, what Tulsidas is saying, what you're being told, well then it makes no sense. The first step is you have to decide, look, being even-minded is an advantage to me. Therefore, I will begin to practice it. Okay? If you don't do that, nothing doing. So I'm going to make the assumption that most of you would like to practice even-mindedness. You want peace of mind. And some of you, well, the scorpion gonna sting. Okay? So once you've decided that you want to practice even-mindedness, what's the next step? The next step, and I want you to remember this, is you practice what's called the 3 R's. You need to recognize when you're getting upset about something. You're going to reduce that upset feeling, and then eventually it will be removed. So recognize, reduce, and remove. You with me? 3 R's. So I want you to have this in the back of your head. And this is not when you sit down and pray and thing, that is different. This is when you live in your life, moment to moment. From the time something upsets you, there's a trigger, I want you to think, I want to be even-minded. Next, the process. I'm going to practice recognize, reduce, remove. So recognition is the first stage. And you wouldn't believe how difficult it is for some people to recognize their emotions. How many of you know you're going to get angry before you get angry? How many of you get angry and didn't realize you're going to get angry till you get angry? Emotions work like this. Deep-seated in the old brain, as it's called. It hijacks everything. Okay? Psychology, our scriptures, everything says this. So, and you can't do anything about it aside from ripping your brain out from your head. Okay? So you have to recognize what is taking place. And this is the key point. If you don't recognize it, recognizing the problem is half the problem solved. If you don't recognize what's happening to you, then you can't solve it. Someone told me this once, as an older gentleman, he said, Pandit, you're talking about anger and whatnot. I really have a problem with anger. A lot of men do. Keeping this anger under control, right? Because I just get angry for so many things. What to do about it? So I'm telling you how to deal with it, moment to moment. So first you recognize. Now, normally there's a trigger to the anger. Let's just talk about people that trigger you, right? Not events so much. Events happen too, but I'll make it simple. So I've mentioned this to you before. This comes from the Yoga Sutras. There are really 4 kinds of states that people are in. Maitri Karuna Muritupekshanam Sukha Dukha Punya Apunya. So let me put it simply. In your relationships with everybody, people can be in any one of 4 states. Either the person is happy, unhappy, virtuous, or wicked. So how do you respond to each? Now I said not react. How do you respond? React is when you suddenly just get vexed and you fly off the hook. That is react. Respond, take a few minutes, take a few seconds, think about what you want to say before you say it, and then respond. That is a response. It's different from reacting. Okay? So I'm saying respond, don't react. So first of all, if a person is happy, how should you respond? Should you be jealous, envious? No. Maitri, friendliness, lovingness. Okay? That's 1. Number 2, if somebody is unhappy, sad, how should you respond to them? Should you get frustrated by them, say, why don't be happy, boy? No. Okay? You need to show karuna, compassion, helping others, try to ease their burden, ease their pain. 3rd, virtuous. Somebody who's virtuous, should you be envious of them, jealous? No. Mudita. We should take delight in their goodness, learn from them as an example. And the last one, the difficult one, the wicked people, scorpion. How we deal with the scorpions in society? Do you get angry with them? Do you try to engage with them and advise them? And according to Sage Patanjali, no. We practice upeksha, which is disregard or indifference. In other words, keep your distance. So you accept that they are a certain way, they behave a certain way, and then you try to stay away from that, disregard as much as possible. Keep away. Move out. You understand? Which leads to really the big strategy here. When you recognize how you feel, you're getting angry, the first step is to move out of that environment. Now, I don't only mean physically move out. Okay? So suppose somebody's arguing with me something or the other, and they're hard-headed. You'd put in logic, all kind of thing. They want to believe what they want to believe. And I mentioned this to you before, human psychology as such. People will only want to confirm what they already believe. Nobody takes evidence contrary to what they believe, which is where the scientific method comes in, but that's another story. The human psychology is quite interesting, you know, the way that people think. So all of you believe certain things. I could present any evidence to the contrary. You wouldn't believe me because you believe what you want to believe. Everybody does it. So don't waste your time. You see, arguments, argument is based upon ego. People argue because they want to be right, not because they want to figure out what is right. Think about that. So, you know, a few years ago, I used to want to argue and try to get people to see this and that. It's a total waste of time. Nobody. Don't argue with anybody. And people who like to argue, it is driven by ego alone, nothing else. There's a difference between trying to show you something and get you to understand. That's different. That's not an argument. But an argument, when people quarrel in this, that, and then you see a son kill a mother, a neighbor kill a next neighbor, two fellas in the bar kill each other, it starts with an argument. Okay? All right. So the first step coming back now, recognize. Recognize when you're getting upset. You feel it. You remove yourself, you walk away from the environment. So this is strategy number 1. To reduce how you're feeling, distract your mind or go away. Move out. Okay? You're quarreling with somebody, your wife or your parents or your children or whatever, people not understanding, move out. Count 1 to 10 and don't say anything. Get out of the environment. You do not want things to escalate. As the Paramachar has mentioned from time to time in Sanatan Dharma, they call it Tattva Gyan. Somebody in a high horse, you go low. Right? Somebody high, you go low. You just do the opposite. You can't have 2 scorpions fighting. Nothing ever comes to that, only death. Okay? So move away, distract yourself. Strategy number 1. Second strategy, self-talk. Now this is an interesting one. You know, when athletes want to perform well, you know what they do? If I was an athlete, I'm not, and I run in a race, I would say, Umesh, come on. You need to do better. Push harder. When you talk to yourself in the third person, you find that you get a better psychological outcome. So if I'm getting angry, right? Suppose Abhinav, what you do, boy? Suppose Abhinav throw some juice on the ground or something. Or as he likes to do, leave things all over the place. Instead of getting angry and flying off the hook, you know, I would talk to myself, I would say, listen, Umesh, you want to be even-minded. You're not setting a right example if you get angry. If you have to teach a lesson, calm down first and explain to him why you're doing this, etc., and approach it in a calm manner. Being calm is a superpower, right? So you talk to yourself in this way. So as you go about your life, the second strategy is say, I want to be even-minded. Come on, I can do it. In this circumstance, this person is annoying me. I'm just going to pull away a bit and keep cool. Right. The third one, use your breath, breathing. So you find you're getting worked up. What to do is take a couple of deep breaths. So you move yourself out, talk to yourself, take some deep breaths. Why? Because when you breathe, it activates something called the vagus nerve. Vagus or vagus, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's a nerve that activates your sympathetic nervous system. In other words, it makes you automatically calm down. That's why you breathe. We have all these yogic practices. Take a few deep breaths, calm down, okay? And then we have, after you've done that and you've settled down, never make any sort of, rash judgments or tell anybody anything when you're in this state, because you always regret it afterward. Always. Okay? So once you've done that, and now, you've reduced that feeling in you, the emotions carrying you away, then now you could settle down and look at the remove. So later on you could communicate with the person or not, if the case may be, Don't go and fight a battle that you can't win, right? So, you have to make your judgment, but the idea is you want to get yourself back to a cool state of mind so you could make rational decisions. Okay? Even-minded. And importantly, devotees, when people like this, back to what Tulsi Das was saying, you don't want to have these people in mind. People have said, okay, let me use myself. They say all kind of thing about me. In work, in the temple, wherever. You say what you want. That is your point of view. It has nothing to do with me. So I don't have anything against you. You say what you want. That's your mind. That's on you. Okay? But I mustn't let it get to me or hold you in mind. If I know day and night you cussing me up outside, if you come to me for some help, I will help you. Because my nature is the nature of the sadhu. Are you like this? And of course, if people treat you well, they treat you well. Okay? So, this is the 3 R's. You want to recognize, you want to reduce, and then remove. And what I would say is, if you really have problems now, aside from your regular prayer, brat, whatever else you do, mantras, you could also, you see physical activity, you see men especially who can't control their anger, go and run in the savannah every day, make 3 or 4 laps. Get that out of your system, reduce the cortisol in your body, the stress hormone. Meditate, spend some time sitting quietly and just looking, breathing. And that will help you in the long term. Is like maintenance therapy for you to control these emotions that go out of whack in you. Okay? So there are many things that could be said, but let me summarize here, right? We discussed this nature of the sadhu is to be even-minded. We all need to practice even-mindedness. How to do it? We spoke about you need to first decide to be even-minded and then practice the 3 R's moving forward. Recognize, reduce, remove. Okay? And then I put to you some strategies in brief how you could do this. You try to calm your mind. You try to assess the situation logically. Don't make rash judgments. And when you're in a better frame of mind, address whatever problem. But remember at the end of the day, devotees, that, you're trying so hard to change the world, make things fit this, but they never go exactly the way you want it to go. So let me end up now with, I like these little Zen stories, right? Now, a Zen story, don't mistake it, it's not a story with a punchline. They are known as Zen koans, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, K-O-A-N, but they are meant to make you think. It's not really a punchline kind of story, right? So, to summarize this, see if you could remember this. It's simple. A man went to a Buddhist monastery for a silent retreat, and when he finished, his meditation, whatever, he felt better. So the teacher there said to the monk before he left, well, how did you, find peace? What did you learn from all of this? And the monk said, after thinking a bit, I said yes. To everything that happens, I said yes. Now, what is he saying here? He is saying that all our pain, everything that we experience, comes about because we resist what is. We try to deny the situation. Oh, I'm not happy at work. I'm not happy at home. My husband is so-and-so. My children so-and-so. The government so-and-so. And it's always a negative reaction to what is. But if you say, yes, I accept this for what it is, then you can move forward to deal with it. You see? So this acceptance comes first. Say yes. I recognize don't fight it, otherwise you're going to get stressed out. So say yes. And finally, devotees, there was another Zen master who, he was given a cup, a crystal cup, a beautiful cup. And it was a gift, from one of his chelas, as we say. So he was very grateful for this cup. And every day he would drink out of this crystal cup, and he put it up in a nice spot where visitors could see it when they came. But you know what he would do? Every morning, before he did his duties, he would hold his cup and look at it. And he would look at it and think, you know what? This cup is already broken. It wasn't broken, but he would look at the cup and say, you know what, this cup is already broken. And so one day, later on, a visitor came, a clumsy visitor, and of course this visitor went and knocked the shelf where the cup was, and what happened? The cup fell down and shattered. And the Zen master, looking at the shattered cup on the ground, what was his response? He remained calm, he looked at the cup, and he said, all right, let's clean it up. And he swept up the cup pieces and threw it away. And he was fine. So again, no punchline, but what is the story? Not getting what you want and losing what you have. The two fears that we have. If every day we look at everything we have, our relationships, our resources, our bodies, and say, you know what? All of this is already broken. It's not mine to keep forever. The day when it is lost to you, you would be okay. Understand? So contemplate this. These little, stories teach us these things. The psychology for coping in life, so that you begin to become even-minded. And I hope and pray that all of you here, everybody listening, that you practice this quality of even-mindedness, and we end up with a lot more sadhus and sadhunis in the world. Take the lesson, devotees. Bole Sri Raja Ramachandra ki jai.
Bole Sri Raja Ramachandra ki jai. Devotees, one wonderful message. Basically, the stimuli are there on the outside is how we manage to cope. And we have been given various coping skills. Ramayan is depthless. What I want to do this morning is to summarize, through simple bhajan, some of the basic principles of Ramayan that we can practice on a daily basis. I'll give brief explanation as I go along. Ramayan katha हमको प्यारा प्यारा रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा Ramayan Katha devotees, I love it. Everybody who in the right sense loves it. There is nothing to compare with it. Ramayan, the essence of all scriptures put together. In a more practical sense, what can I learn from Ramayan? We shall listen. Ramayan Katha humko pyara pyara Ramayan Katha sabko pyara Ramayan Katha humko pyara pyara Ramayan Katha sabko pyara धन्य है रामायण महात्मा जी को धन्य है रामायण महात्मा जी को पुत्री से पुत्र बनाया प्यारा रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा पिता पुत्र का प्रेम दिखलाए पिता पुत्र का प्रेम दिखलाए साक्षी है राम भगवान पियर, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। भातृ प्रेम रामायण कावे, भातृ प्रेम रामायण कावे, साक्षी है लक्ष्मण और भरत पियर, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। पतिव्रत धर्म रामायण बतलाए, पतिव्रत धर्म रामायण बतलाए, साक्षी है सीता और अनुसूया प्यार, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। मूर्ति पूजा रामायण दर्शाए, मूर्ति पूजा रामायण दर्शाए, शिव स्थापन है साक्षी राम प्यार, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा। विंदा कर्म रामायण दिखलाए, विंदा कर्म रामायण दिखलाए, साक्षी है राम और भरत पियर, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा पियर, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा हमारा, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा। धन है रामायण महात्म जी को। It's documented in Sri Ramcharitamanus devotees. Of course, not Tulsidas documented this, Gopal Das, where Tulsidas averted a major crisis by creating a miracle, transforming a girl into a boy in 9 days' time. Now, modern science may not want to accept this, but who cares? It's documented there, our scriptures don't tell lies. Tulsidas used Sri Ramcharitamanus, I won't go into detail, and transformed a girl into a boy, averting major crisis of bloodshed. If you want a miracle, and many of us like to believe in miracles, the Ramayana provides this. But it is not only worshipping the Ramayana, as we say, putting a flower on top of it every day, but to read it, to go into depth, to understand it, ras, to get the essence. Principles. Ramayana Katha preaches the kind of love a son should demonstrate towards his father. A father with a son is a son's command. Who practiced this ideal principle? Sri Ram Maryada Purushottam, who had such love for his father. Without his father instructing him to go to the forest, he chose to go to fulfill his father's word. Knowing his father was bound to his word. And that principle of Raghukul, that ancestry before to die, but never allowed their word to fall. Principle. How you live, what you do. Bhatri Prem Ramayan Gavi. Ramayan sings the greatness of brotherly love. And here we have in Ramayan, who set the example? Lakshman and Bharatji. Lakshman chose to go to the forest with Sri Ram. Bharat, to whom the kingdom was given, rejected it outright and said, this belongs to my brother Sri Ram, it's not mine. Such brotherly love. not having expectations for material things, asha dukhasya karanam. They maintain these principles. Perfect example. You want to follow Ramayan? You want to be a Sanatanist? These are some of the principles you need to follow. Someone may say, suppose I don't have a brother. Then I have mentioned to you these different relationships from Chanak Maharaj. Satyam Mata Pita Jnanam Dharma Bhrata. One's dharma, one's dutifulness is one's brother. Even though we may not have a physical relationship, but we all have brothers. If we can respect and love that brother, dharma, it stands by our side. Dharma protects those who maintain dharma. I said I wouldn't elaborate. Pativrata dharma, Ramayan batalai. Ramayan sings the greatness of Pativrata dharma, the wife's duty. Now many times the wives say, what about the husband's duty? You can't have a Sita if you don't have a Sri Ram. Ravan tried to abduct Sita to make her his. It didn't happen, it cannot happen. Ravan cannot marry Sita, only Ram could marry Sita. So it goes without saying what the men should be doing. But it is said, if a woman wants to attain to that state, liberation in one lifetime, Pativrata dharma, duty, again, dharma, loyalty, sincerity, faithfulness. This doesn't mean to say you take abuse, eh? We never say that. But then you see, you have to be like Sita Mata, like Anusuya Ma. The life they lived, the examples they set, the principles they maintained. Anusuya Ma, Atri Rishi, her husband. Sita Mata, Prabhu Sri Ram. So again I say, it goes without saying that, the men need to be in a certain way. You can't expect the wives to be in a certain way and you are different. No way. You have to maintain your principles and then you're going to have the pativrata. But then I always say too, that if a man, Ravan was whatever he was, Mandodari was a pativrata. She didn't compromise. Two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. So devotees, Ramayan preaches this principle. Of course, it can be elaborated upon. There are all different dimensions to this. Different dimensions. Murti Puja. Ramayan has brought forth Murti Puja. Where did this come from? Shiv Sthapan is Sakshi Ram. Maryada Purushottam Dhanush Sri Ram. Before he went across into Lanka, he caused to be consecrated the lingam of Bhagwan Shankar. Rameshwaram he worshipped, setting the example for all of us. This is why many years ago I would try to put forward different debates and arguments about why we should worship Murti. I have stopped doing that. If you don't believe in it, nothing I say could change you. I don't have time to waste. I believe in it and I do it. Where is the example? Sri Ram, the ideal, the perfect master. Pindakaram, Ramayan dikhalai. Ramayan has shown Pindakaram. When Dashrath died, Bharat performed this karma. Sri Ram also performed Pindakaram. But does it mean to say that we have to do Pindakaram all the time? This is why I make a difference. When the occasion comes, you perform your Pinda. Shraddha, Shraddha, faith. But importantly, how you live. Look at the principles of Bharat. Look at the principles of Sri Ram. Not blindly performing rituals, but maintaining the inner principles of Pindakaram. The principles that were passed on to them by ancestors. Without compromise, maintaining these principles on a daily basis. That is Pindakaram, Srarkaram. This is the Pind, this human body, the microcosm. What karma do I maintain? Dharma Kshetri Kuru Kshetri. What is this? In the field of activity, there is Dharma Kshetra, duty. I need to understand what these things are about myself. Self-analysis, critical self-analysis, and no compromise. Maintain the principles. Ramayan Katha teaches these and so many others. But devotees, what we are saying, it is to practice. If one goes to the Gita, there is Sankhya Yoga and there is Karma Yoga. Arjuna asked, "Oh Lord, what is the difference between these two?" And Bhagavan said, Karma Yoga is easier. Just do it. Maintain your principles. Carry out your practices. Nature conspires to put all factors in place to help you. Devotees, believe me, you learn through nature. Anger, hate, whatever, these things, obstruct you. You can't control it. Things are going to continue to happen until you're forced to develop that quality, that control. It happens. You go through, certain processes. All these Ramayan teach. These lessons that we are being taught from Ramayan devotees, the psychology of it, so to speak, being put through by Panatomesh. You go through these processes, but being aware of it, you can practice it in a much better way. There is blind following and following with understanding. Blind following is not the best thing. This is why he has chosen to drashai, to bring forward all these lessons, to show it that you can understand what you're doing and continue to maintain the principles and practices, but you understand why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and greater results will accrue. Quicker, I should say. So devotees, Ramayan, one without a second, words can't be found sufficient to express Ramayan. But many will say the storybook who stick to the superficial aspect of it. But when one goes to the essence, Nanam Purana Nigamagam Sammatam, Yad Ramayano, as I said many times, many years ago, I also said I got fed up of reading Ramayan. I got fed up of saying these stories, yes. Fed up of singing the same chaupai, same tune, creating new tunes. That was very superficial. And when one begins to understand and get the rest of Ramayan, you realize there is nowhere else to go. Ramayan is the essence. And I want to commend Panatomesh for bringing this to you, getting you to get involved in it. And I want to say to you that not only should you come Sunday morning and when he read it for you. You have your book at home, read. Read. Remember we said that's a sadhan. It's a spiritual discipline. And you'll be amazed to see what is going to happen. And just remember this. Nobody could do it for you. Nobody. Nobody. The Guru can what they call Shakti Path, instill some Shakti into you, but he still cannot do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And I remember the words of my father, the late Shankaracharya. What prevents us? What prevents us? We all know. Laziness and stupidity. Laziness and stupidity. We are trying to get you out of that, devotees. But remember, Ramayan takes us on this journey. Where? To the feet of Sri Ram. The feet of Sri Ram. And Tulsidas, if you follow what he's saying, he's all positivity. Respect all. He said, I bow to the dusht. I bow to the wicked man also, but from far. I'm going to go close to bow to him. The saints, I will associate to them closely. Pratham Bhakti Santan Kar Sangha. Association devotees. This is why it starts here. And I made this point to the young ones. The association could make you or break you. You decide. You decide. Don't blame anybody. Make a choice. My choice, Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje. Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje. I seek the feet of that Lord. Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje. Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje. Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje. Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje. Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje. Shri Ram Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
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 Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Bhupalachuramani
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 Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Oh Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Bolo Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Shri Ramacharanam Shri Ramacharanam Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam Sri Ramacharanam Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Shri Ramacharanam Shri Ramacharanam Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam Sri Ramacharanam Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Shri Ramacharanam Shri Ramacharanam Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam Sri Ramacharanam Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
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 Vaikuntharamam Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Vaidehi Ramam Vaikuntharamam
Bhupalachuramani
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 Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Oh Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Atmabhiramam Anandaramam
Shri Ramacharanam bhaje
Sri Ramacharanam bhaje
Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Bolo Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Sri Ram Charanam, Sri Ram Charanam, Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam, Shri Ram Charanam Bhaje,
Sri Ram Charanam, Sri Ram Charanam, Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje.
Devotees, Sri Ram Charanam Bhaje, that Ram, however you understand Ram to be, divinity, seek him. And various strategies are given to us to go to him. Vima Shivarima, Navdha Bhakti. Choose anyone. But chanting the name is a very, very powerful tool in this age Kali Yuga. As I said, in the age Kali Yuga, chanting the name individually or collectively is the easiest, the safest, and maybe the best way to go to the divine. Chant the name. Ram, 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 Ram Nam Tarakam. Ram, 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 Ram Nam Tarakam. Ram Krishna Vasudeva Bhakti Mukti Dayakam.
Ram Krishna Vasudeva Bhakti Mukti-dayakam.
Ram Krishna Vasudeva Bhakti Mukti Dayakam.
Ram Krishna Vasudeva Bhakti Mukti-dayakam.
Janaki Manoharam Sakala Lokanayakam.
Janaki Manoharam Sakala Lokanayakam.
Janaki Manoharam Sakala Lokanayakam.
Janaki Manoharam Sakala Lokanayakam.
Shankaradi Sevyama Punya Nama Kirtanam.
Shankaradi Sevyama Punya Nama Kirtanam.
Shankaradi Sevyaman Punya Nama Kirtanam. Ram, 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 Ram Nama Tarakam. Ram, 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 Ram Nama Tarakam. Boli Sri Raja Ramachandra ki.
Please all stand, devotees. We join together in our final arati.
जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख बिन से मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे
सुख संपत्ति घरे आवे
कष्ट मिटे तन का ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहु किसकी
स्वामी शरण गहु किसकी
तुम बिन और न दूजा
प्रभु बिन और न दूजा
आश करूं जिसकी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूरन परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी
स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी
पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर
पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर
तुम सबके स्वामी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता
स्वामी तुम पालन करता
दीन दयालु कृपालु
दीन दयालु कृपालु
कृपा करो भरता
ओम जय जगदीश हरे
तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति
स्वामी सबके प्राणपति
किस विधि मिलो दया में
किस विधि दया
तुमको मैं कुमति
ओम जय जगदीश हरे
दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे
स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे
करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ
करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ
शरण परा तेरे
ओम जय जगदीश हरे
विषय विकार मिटाओ पाप हरो देवा
स्वामी पाप हरो देवा
श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ
श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ
संतन के सेवा
ओम जय जगदीश हरे
ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ॐ जय जगदीश हरे
We join in closing prayer.
शिव हरे शिव राम सखे प्रभु त्रिविधताप निवारण विभु अज जनेश्वर यादव पाहि मां शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरं शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जयमङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जयमङ्गलम् ॐ मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलायतनो हरि मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज ॐ मन्त्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं जनार्दनं यत् पूजितं मया देवा परिपूर्णं तदस्तु ॐ असतो मा सत्कमय ॐ तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय ॐ मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्याद्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव बोले श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय आर शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोले श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय बोले श्री स्वाहा माता की जय।
Sitaram. On April 10th, we will be celebrating Ram Navami at Gyandipak. This will be done with puja starting from 8 a.m., followed by offerings by devotees to Devi in culmination of the Navratri period. Rocking of the Palna will be done after discourse, and there will be no Kanya puja on this day. A reminder that all devotees are welcome to join with us for in-person attendance as COVID restrictions have been lifted. Mask wearing and sanitization still, however, remain in effect. And finally, snack boxes have been prepared and provided this morning by Auntie Nuri, Uncle Danny and family, and can be collected at the front along with prasad and arti as usual. Sitaram.
Devotees, just to also advise that the Navratri starts on Friday, the 1st. I know we may have people from other parts of the world joining us, and India will be telling you that the Navrat starts on the 2nd. Now, if you in this time zone decide to celebrate on the 2nd, remember India is 9.5 hours ahead of us. So you'll be totally, one will almost have passed by. In our time zone, based upon calculations, Pratipada Tithi, or the first Tithi, the New Year, so to speak, is on Friday, the 1st. So Friday is the beginning of Navratra. So I'm putting this to you, so those of you who like to, do your normal devotions and so on, you feel free to do so. And Navarat, the celebration of the worship of Devi, we call the second Navratra Devi Navratam. This is also Devi Navratam. We worship Devi Ma every day. But it's just that in this Navratam, special time, as you heard, on the 10th, Ram Navami. Navami, 9th. So that Sunday is the 9th day in the Tithi. In the moonlight time. In the Navratam. And Navrat will finish on Monday. It does me. So just to let you know, those of you who are making your offerings and so on, you can start on Friday coming. And sometimes people want to know time. Don't worry about tomorrow time, start Friday morning. If you want to start about time, you can wait for 1:45 Friday morning and start if you want that time, week whole night. Alright? Sometimes we go to the point of absurdity. So I'm telling you, start Friday morning to offer your dhar and so on, right? And you go right through. And we have been hearing the first 3 days for Durga Ma, second 3 days for Lakshmi Ma, third 3 days for Saraswati Ma. But every day you offer in Durga Dhar. So don't get carried away. Worship Devi every day. Alright? Some say the second Navratam, you have these divisions. First 3 days Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. These things represent something deeper, devotees. But you're worshipping Devi Ma, offer your dhar every day. From Friday coming. Okay? Those of you who are accustomed making various sacrifices, you do so. But remember, fasting and so on should not be to the detriment of your health. But at the same time, you must not avoid it because of laziness. Many of us make excuses. I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of that. Don't make excuses. If you can't do it, you can't do it. But make sure the genuine reason you have. Remember, God doesn't benefit from this. It is man who benefits. And this is called Naimitic Karam. So, Nitya Karma, daily duties, you do that every day. Naimitic, occasional, Navratra. If they said you celebrate it, you get plenty blessings. You don't, you incur sin. Okay? So the choice is ours to acquire as much merits as possible this Navratra coming. And we have the opportunity to celebrate the birth of Maryada Purushottam, Dhanushadhari Sri Ram. So maybe next week Sunday some more details can be given to you about this. But we say prepare yourselves. The Kharwas, as we call it, is finished, or the Phagwa period on Thursday. Friday, Navratra begins. Okay? So devotees, blessings everybody, and you are now the right type of journey, keep on making that effort. No gain without pain. Sacrifices take you very, very far. These sacrifices help to overcome the imperfections of the mind. Do them, and you will experience the difference. The journey becomes much easier. You start hard, it becomes easier. Self-effort is everything. Okay? No laziness. Make your effort. Blessings to all, and we look forward to seeing you on next week Sunday. And when we look at you, we know if you're fasting, offering with dhar and so on, When people are praying and so on, there's a different aura that emanates out of them. You look different. For those of us who have eyes, I have 4 eyes. So I'll be looking on to see. I want people to make that effort. The restrictions are being lifted. Mask wearing, as you heard Sarika say, is necessary. So not because they lift certain restrictions, you're going to let go and become careless. COVID is still around. But I told you many times in the past, I said by the time April, May, it's going to ease up. It's going to ease up, but you still have to take precautions. Maintain all necessary protocols that you have to based upon the circumstances, okay? So we look forward to seeing you next week, everybody. Remember, blessings on Niri, members of your family, Manohar family, blessings and many thanks for the snack box. So we're looking for not the snack box, but what is within the snack box. Okay? Blessings. Devotees, have a safe journey back home.